Hey folks, so today we will talk about SSI as usually, and you see that couple of videos I was talking about the wallets, and we talk about the recovery for the wallets and what the crypto wallet is, and today we will talk about the wallets, but in a context of the self-sovereign identity. So when you have a crypto wallet, that's easier. So it's what I explained already to you, that your wallet is just a manager of your private keys. And practically all the information located somewhere in a blockchain. So you just integrate some additional services with the blockchain, like to manage your NFTs, manage your crypto funds. Easy. What about the SSI? So when you get back to the SSI topic, you will discover that persistent is not solved there. Yeah, so you have some physical assets like the verifiable credentials. That's just some form of JSON LD or maybe some other formats like CBOR and so on. But it's some physical assets that you need to persist somewhere, and it's already a challenge. So that's one thing. Another thing, that you have your digital identity, you have your public keys, and your public keys usually distributed as DADs, and DAD is the thing itself. So yeah, for sure, some blockchain-based DADs hosted somewhere else, some blockchains, or the deep web hosted somewhere in web pages. But you have the challenge to correlate the DAD document, and the private keys, and it's one of the most popular and most hidden and misunderstood function of the SSI wallet. So you need to have effective public key, private key management and correlation between these two things. So if you say that I want to have this kind of DAD, you need to be able to sign the credential and to do all the things. So you need to manage somehow the public and private key relations. But it's the public DAD identifiers. The thing is more complex for the private DADs. So private DAD, for example, DITPeer, you need to manage not just your DAD document and the changes to the DAD document. So that's, for example, what Kerry offers us with the key event logs and all other things. But you need to manage some kind of DAD documents of all your relations. So, and it's open huge and interesting world of trust registries, address books, and the concept that the main function of the identity is manage the relations of your identity to other people. So if you use DITPeer, you need to store somehow the DADs and the corresponding DAD document of the peers that you work with. And it could be challenging, so it's not open standard. So the Kerry offers something on the representation layer, and DITPeer, for example, came not just with the DAD documents, but was with the obligation of management, the authorization rules that mentioned in a DAD document. So it's quite a complex thing, and it's yet another domain. The next hidden thing in a SSI wallet will be the connections, and here it's depend. If you work in an environment where you have the DITCOM, you already have the connections. But here we need to understand, it was described in my previous videos, that wallet is the passive entity that just manage your keys, and if you need to maintain the connections, take part in active interactions, credential exchange, and something more active, it's mean that you need to be online, you need to be reachable. So wallet is not enough, you need to have something called agent. So agent is the wallet on steroids that still have the access to your assets and your keys, but could operate online on behalf of you. So not all agents are custodial. So you could still host your own agent. You keep your own keys private. You don't need to trust people, but it's mean that infrastructure and operational cost is and persistent is on your side. So the agent is the active guy on steroids that could be wallet-ish like entity, and DITCOM connections, DITCOM interactions, actually it's more on the agent side. What I mentioned before, that most of you think that after all the DIT management, you need to have some kind of persistent for your credentials. It's obvious. Yeah, and what's not obvious for the folks who working on the SSI wallets, that as far as you could act as a issuer, verifier, and holder, it's not only about owning the credentials, it's even something about issuing the credentials for others, and it's not so rare case. And in this case, if you want to do the revocable credentials, you will need something to store and to publish publicly your revocation lists. And here you need a wallet, you need an agent, and you need something that will make your revocation list public. And here you have a couple of options. You could host your own agent somewhere that will own the revocation list and make them available on web, or you could create something that called the SSI hub that have the functions of authorization, could work with the multi-tenants and host multiple revocation lists for different users, different DIDs, and so on. So as you see that SSI wallet, it's quite rarely the wallet itself. So it's probably the combination of the wallet, couple of agents, couple of relays that build the network, and the SSI hubs that could be bigger than your phone, could be bigger than your app, that able to store big amount of credentials. For example, quite interesting topic for the SSI world is the messaging. Some of the messaging come with the DITCOM, some of the messaging came in the same lines, that you have the DID-like address that communicate with the messages. So you need to persist the messages, you need to organize somehow the threads of these messages, but that's the topic of our separate discussion. So the SSI wallet usually is the SSI agents connected to the network. Sometimes use the SSI hubs that serve multiple users, but every hub could be turned to the agent if it's the single user use, for example. And it's what I was building for last 3 years. So at Affinity, but it's not bounded only to the Affinity. So you probably, if you will decide to build the SSI ecosystem, you will need to build the ecosystem of the wallets. You need to build some integration of the wallets to the enterprise world and all those things. And you always will be forced to solve the problem of the SSI wallet. So I give you some overview of the entities that exist and need to be covered by the combination of the wallet agents and hubs. You could take a look to my video about the wallet agents and hubs that will explain you in more details. And the most sad story that I still haven't seen the ecosystem that solve the SSI wallet effectively. So some of them solve them partially, some of them solve just a part of the domain that they really care, but I still looking for the perfect wallet. So maybe I will build my own quite soon. So that's it that I was keen to share with you. Subscribe to our channel, ask questions, let me know what you are building in a space. I will be happy to have a coffee and talk with you about SSI. Cheers.